Hello and welcome back to another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling Midlands Championship Wrestling, and we are opening the episode with MCW Midlands Mayhem as we continue to run through the round robin tournament on the men's side. The women's side, of course, already finished, and we're going to jump straight in. But just before we do, if you're enjoying the series, please do leave a like down below. Comment who do you think is going to win our men's championship title, and who do you think will win out of Brittany and Saraya Knight on the women's side of things, and subscribe as well, and let's jump in. And so we are out of Featherstone and Hilton once again in front of 94 people this week, with Zack Sabre Jr. opening the show in a decent match, defeating Ricky Knight by submission with a senior stretch. It gets a rating of 40, so pretty nice opening to the show. And Ricky Knight, again, a rating of 10 in ring. Zack Sabre Jr. with a 54, which is fantastic. But again, this is why Ricky Knight probably going to be retiring soon. And following that, we have him saying if he can't win his final match in bracket A, then he will hang up the boots. So that might happen in either MCW Live in the next show or in the next episode. But Ricky Knight desperately needing to get a win if he wants to continue his career. And after that, we go into Dave Mastiff and Marty Scurll, and in a decent match, Dave Mastiff defeats Marty Scurll in 11:21 by pinfall with a discus lariat. The match getting a rating of 34 as Dave Mastiff seemed off his game. That's, I think, the first time we've had him be off his game, and he still puts in a 44, so he's still doing a really good job for us, and again continues his momentum, as I believe he's still unbeaten in the round robin tournament. I believe that would put him on 8 points. I think that's his fourth match in the tournament. But following that, we have Brittany saying she's determined to win the title, and she won't let her family stop her. Of course, she's fighting her family in the final in Saraya Knight. She gets a 24 rating in that, so that's a decent segment for her there. And then back into in-ring action we go, with a decent match once again. Trent Seven defeating Zack Knight in 9:29 by submission, only getting a rating of 20, which isn't great. The bout dragged in the middle, and a lack of flow was noticeable. That's not great when you're only putting on a 9.5 minute match. It's not great at all. But hopefully our main event will get us back up in the ratings. And it does so because in a bout that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Lionheart defeats Martin Kirby in 15:11 with a leap of faith. 47 rating for the match. Absolutely fantastic. Despite Martin Kirby being off his game, this one was a steal the show, I think. It was indeed, and they have done that with that rating. And we've just got a final segment to close out the show. Lionheart clearly struggling with his ribs after the match, and that is as a result of the consistent attacks that we've seen from Dave Mastiff. And the show ends up with a 41 rating, increases our popularity once again, and yeah, pretty solid show for us there. So we'll go around and tell some of them that they've had a good match. So Zack Sabre Jr., Lionheart, and we'll give Martin Kirby compliment on a good performance as well. So they're all happy with that, and we can go and jump over to MCW Live. I think we are close now to finishing the men's brackets. And there was no backstage incidents to cover, so we're going to jump straight into MCW Live, and this time we are in front of 92 people. And we opened the show in a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Dave Mastiff defeats Zach Gibson in 8:03 with a cannonball. And Dave Mastiff back on his game, unlike in the previous show. Segment getting a rating of 45, which is pretty good for us again. And this time round, we also find out that Zach Gibson and Dave Mastiff have great chemistry. So that's something for us to keep a note of. They're both heels at the moment. However, in future, maybe we could turn one of them face, and that would give us a chance for a rivalry between the two. Probably Zach Gibson out of the two, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. Following that, we have a little segment of Saraya just saying, as the veteran, she knows what it takes to get over the line, unlike Brittany, and this gets a 43 rating, which is absolutely fantastic. Brittany wasn't meant to be on camera here. It was meant to only be Saraya, similar to what Brittany did last week, similar to what Brittany did on Midlands Mayhem, but it is what it is. We've got that happening now, and we're back into ring action next. And a decent match, Rampage Brown defeats Zach Knight in 10 minutes 30 with a sit-down powerbomb. Segment only getting a rating of 19, which isn't great, and Zach Knight sustains a broken toe. We have a look in the notes here. It was disrupted by injury, so the match does get affected by that. However, hopefully just a broken toe. He shouldn't be out of the ring, or if he is, it should be for a very short amount of time, I would imagine. And after the match, first of all, we got Zach Knight suffered a broken toe. After the match, Rampage says, just like Pac, he's better than MCW and every single one of its wrestlers. He gets a 31 rating for that, so, you know, just showed a bit of cockiness, saying the guy I replaced decided he was too good to be in MCW, and you know what, I'm better than MCW as well, so I'm just going to come in, I'm just going to dominate and take the title. Following that, we go into our next match with Chris Brooks defeating Roy Knight in 11 minutes 40 by pinfall with a Yakuza kick after interference from Zach Knight. So Zach, continuing to be the jealous one, could see Roy Knight was doing well, so while the referee is distracted, Chris Brooks doesn't see him, runs up, hits Roy Knight, let's say, with a lead pipe, and then as a result of that, Chris Brooks able to hit a Yakuza kick, but didn't see the attack, so he doesn't know why Roy wasn't ready to counter, but he picks up the win. And following that, Zach Knight then gets in the ring and attacks Roy as well, and that gets us a 23 rating. So we could do with a good main event here. I don't think this show matters too much for our popularity anyway, because we've already gained popularity this month, but nevertheless, we'll jump in to the main event, which is Pete Dunne defeating Clint Majera by pinfall in 9 minutes 41. Pete Dunne was off his game. It was, of course, a hardcore match, and a 29 rating, not great for our main event on this show. However, because of our popularity, it's not going to cause us any problems. It's a 33 rating. That is one of our weaker shows. But nevertheless, we'll go through, tell Zach Gibson he had a good performance. We'll tell Rampage Brown, give him some encouragement, and we'll do the same for Pete Dunne. So they should all be happy, and we'll go and have a quick look at the tournament bracket. So Zach Knight injured, however, not expected to miss any dates, and also he's only injured for 5 days, so that'll be in plenty of time for our next show. Nothing to worry about there. And we do also have some other news. In the UEWA European Heavyweight title has been vacated. That's as part of our alliance. Let's have a quick look. Who was the champion? It was Big Vito. So what's happened to Vito? Has he got an injury? There's nothing here about it. Oh, that came through back in June. So he's been out for a while from the looks of it. So Vito tore his rotator cuff and he's going to be out for a year. So that's not ideal for the alliance. However, it does mean we've potentially got a chance. There's actually the tag titles also not under any control. So if we can round up our tournaments and then maybe we can take one of those titles and crown a champion at our show, just to get a few extra eyeballs on the show perhaps. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the tournament bracket to round off the episode. So Chris Brooks on 6 points. He's got 2 matches to go. Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricky Knight. Zack Sabre Jr. 2 matches to go. It's, of course, Chris Brooks and Rampage Brown. And then we've got also Trent Seven has got to face Rampage Brown as well. And Zack Sabre Jr. and Rampage Brown both on 8 points. Chris Brooks on 6 points could get himself in contention here. And in bracket B, we've got Dave Mastiff on 10 points. Only 1 match to go for him, which is Lionheart. Clint Majera on 4 points, and he's still got to face Martin Kirby. Marty Skull on 2 points. He's got, who's this? Pete Dunne and Zach Gibson to face. Pete Dunne also has to face Lionheart. Zach Gibson only got to face Marty Skull, and then Lionheart has Dave Mastiff and Pete Dunne to face. So I think, if my calculations are correct, we're going to be finished with this in the next episode, I would imagine. So if you've enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Thank you very much for watching.